Good evening and welcome to Omnibros Live. Except for Lou, who we don't actually know if he's alive or not. He's broadcasting from under his bed somewhere in a bunker in Florida.
Hi, everybody.
Hiding out from the law. Trying to get off the grid, but still loyal to the Omnibros.
I am Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault, here with Comics Guide 101's Lou. Lou, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
And the Omnibus collector himself. He started it all, a movement on the internet. He's a influencer to be dealt with. FOMO, Omnibros, whatever. Here's Ryley. How's it going?
You know, it is what it is. It goes.
Yeah, Arya, we started almost on time tonight. We almost missed this. And Joachim Comic Center, this topic is not spoken about enough. Great topic, guys. Matt Miranda is calling you the All-Father. That we can argue about. No Geo, that's a FOMO. No, that's actually not what FOMO means. That sounds like
we're fearful of missing out on Geo.
Hello, Gabriel. Hey, FOMO bros. What's up, Multiversity? Lucifer died for our sins. Is your avatar? What's that from?
I would want to suppose Wicked and Divine.
Oh, I haven't read the fourth book yet.
Well, it's in the first chapter, I think.
Of the first book?
Yeah, the very first chapter.
Okay, well, I read that like 3 years ago, so I can't. Okay, I can't deal with. First of all, I can't deal with life, but
same.
I can't deal with Messenger just making noise all the time. So
right,
I'm gonna sign off of Facebook and see if I can get it to cut it out.
Cut it out.
That's right. So before we get into FOMO, we're going to talk about my feelings. Thank you. That's right. Lionheart asked, Jess, how are you feeling, my dude? Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good right now.
Better with that butt shot right there.
Oh, yeah. Who is that? Is that like some Street Fighter person? Or who is that? Is that an anime Street Fighter Gundam Wing, something that I don't recognize?
Gonna need Lionheart to reveal that information because I'm not familiar with the character.
Uh-oh, we stumped even the All-Father himself. Is this the episode where you tell us what books to buy and we force more books to go out of print? Yeah, we're here to create FOMO. We didn't say, or did we say in the title that we wanted to stop it?
I don't know. What did you I think you just said the FOMO show. There you go. No, but you did say what is FOMO and how to prevent it.
Oh.
So budget. You ruined it.
When in doubt, it's hentai, Jess. Always hentai. It's the Street Fighter character who slaps her butt.
Same.
Before we get any further, let's talk about InStockTrades.com. Oh, wait. Okay, since I'm in charge, everything's going to go wrong. But wait, I have a banner for it. There we go. That's the most I can do. InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collector editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. At the end of every month, we're lucky enough to get a $50 gift card to give away to a lucky viewer out there, like you guys out there. Yeah, $50 or more in an order gets you free shipping, which is crazy good when those Omnis come out. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
Oh,
And now
yeah.
up the Golden Kirkman. That's a banner too. Let's see.
I mean,
So
the golden Kirkman is pretty much locked in for this year, isn't it? It's going to be, the bar is so low that it's going to be tough.
I feel like I just read. Oh, just read a story that is an old story. Whoops! Let me get the Golden Curtain off there. I just read a story that's an old story that is a Spider-Man story that is the worst Spider-Man story I have ever. Well, you're right. That Abrams kid did write a bad Spider-Man story.
Yes, he did.
Well, what's this one? Let me see if I like it so I can argue with you.
Okay, I'm doing a read through of JMS's Spider-Man for the OmniCat show, and she has the first Omni, and I have the best of that I'm reading through, and I just got to the end of volume 4, I think, which I believe is the end of the first Omni. Yeah, what that? God damn it! I hate this.
Is it the original sins or whatever?
It's where somehow Jane or I'm so angry I can't even get my thoughts together. Gwen Stacy gets impregnated by Norman Osborn.
Never happened. We don't acknowledge it.
I mean, come on. This is just the stupidest thing, and had children she gave birth and had 2 kids that are hunting Spider-Man, and it started out so well. I liked the Ezekiel character. Of course, this is giving away everything that I'm going to say on Saturday night. But yeah, Norman Osborn and Gwen Stacy. Gwen Stacy's my gal and has been ever since I was a little kid. Okay, let's have an argument. Henry Abrams' story was not as bad as this.
Well, the reason the Abrams story might get some leeway is because it's not canon.
Thank God. Thank Christ.
Like this story, like, I mean, I don't know how much they really lean into it at all, like, because they don't really, I don't think they've brought up any of that stuff since that story came out.
Okay.
But like, it's meant to be canon. And that
JMS wrote?
Yeah, like JMS's run entirely is meant to be canon. Whether they mention that arc or not later on, and that's what I'm saying. I don't remember. Like, I've read every issue of Spider-Man from that point on, but I don't recall it getting brought up. And also with that, like, JMS's Spider-Man is one of my absolute favorite runs on Spider-Man, and it's like everything else except for that he wrote is just like great. And then that story arc is dookie. And then, I mean, it culminates in One More Day, but like, that wasn't written by him. That was Joey Q. So
I think it's called Sins Past or something.
Yeah,
I will see your sins pass and raise you, Sentry Fallen Sun.
Is that the one shot?
Yes. It's so bad, the author didn't even put his name on the book.
Wait, what was that? It's called what?
Sentry Fallen Sun, where they're holding a funeral for the Sentry, and we find out that Rogue apparently lost her virginity to the Sentry.
Oh, I've only heard about that. I haven't read it.
Yeah.
That was the aftermath for Siege. One of the aftermath issues.
It's pretty terrible.
that character, like I last year I read a lot of the Sentry solo material that I hadn't read before, and it's a cool idea because it was something that, like, at that time I can't remember people doing something like that before, where it was like, hey, this character has actually been around for a while. And like the original story by Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee is pretty good. Like,
I
some
like
pretty
that
good
story.
stuff.
Yeah.
And same team behind Inhumans and stuff. Like, it's good stuff. And then I feel like whenever Sentry actually becomes part of the Marvel universe at large and like gets used, especially for like all of Bendis's stuff, is where, I don't know, he just fell off the wayside, and it just, I don't know, he just never did anything really great, and then they disposed of him after Siege, and then you get this one shot, and then after that he comes back later, and I know that Jeff Lemire did that miniseries with him. Now he's just not really around anymore.
No, they tried to make Sentry happen for years, and it's just not happening. No, Sentry's just no.
At least they didn't try to do the same thing with that character that Mark Waid introduced. I forget what her name was, but she was like the daughter of the Grandmaster or something, and they like tried to insert her into the Avengers past. But I feel like after that storyline, she just disappeared.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I remember this. Okay, so this is now worst stories ever instead of FOMO. Maybe if we tell people how bad comic books are, they won't want them, and that cures FOMO.
It's funny, like, that I wasn't in the conversation like when y'all decided to talk about this, but I have notes, like a ton of notes right now about like a video where I like, basically I'm trying to help people who are trying to get started in the hobby, and I'll probably do a video that's more specific for manga, and then another video that's more specific for comics. But like most of it overlaps because a lot of it is like budgeting, where to shop, hints on like finding stuff that's hard to find, shelving, and like where to find good shelving, good prices and stuff like that, keeping things clean and organized. A lot of those go both ways. But yeah, one of the things was like in my section of like things not to do is specifically don't give in to FOMO. And I mentioned it twice, once at the beginning and once at the end, because it's something that's so easy to get sucked into. Just this idea of like, especially when you're part of communities like, you know, we have been, and everyone's talking about, oh man, this book is great, and it's going out of print, and this is your last chance to get it. And all of a sudden you're sitting there having not planned on buying something, and then all of a sudden you're just dropping $50-$60 for this book you weren't planning on. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to fall into, and there's like so many cases where all of us, it's happened to everyone, wind up buying a book that you don't even look at. You just bought it. It's like, I'll be like, why did I buy this book again? Oh yeah, because someone said it was going out of print. And it's a smack in the face when like you jump on it because you think like, okay, it's going to get hard to get, and then it gets either reprinted or like stealthily reprinted, and it just still exists, and you're like, I could have just left this. I didn't need to buy this.
I'm fairly certain everybody in the group has at least whispered the words "fuck you, Omar" at least once in the past year.
Well, I think the idea of FOMO it's easiest to battle FOMO now, I would say currently, than it was 5 years ago, when you had no idea if Punisher by Garth Ennis was ever going to see a reprint, or Daredevil by Bendis or Brubaker was ever going to see a reprint. Those things, there was like a 5-year hole there, or even longer, really, maybe 2012 till 2019, where stuff wasn't getting reprinted. And I can see jumping on something because you want the material and it's hard, it's not available in trade paperback, or the trades are out of print and you just want to read it. But now, I mean, Dark Horse is reprinting stuff that was hard to find in there with like Hellboy stuff. Marvel's reprinting Omnis. DC reprinted Infinite Crisis, which was really hard to find and expensive. I think the cure for FOMO is just patience, and because everything seems to be getting a reprint now.
Yeah. My biggest thing, like, I've gotten myself to start buying significantly less stuff, and in that, like, not just like new stuff and old stuff. Like I'm not buying like any old comics at the moment, like anything that's not a brand new release. And I think a lot of it is like you have to set rules for yourself and you have to set boundaries for yourself in your collecting. And this is a major thing that I have in like my notes for this video that I'll be making is like you make the rules for yourself as far as like budgeting goes, and like really what types of items that you're going to allow yourself to pick up. And it sounds a little extreme, but like if you don't have boundaries, then everything's on the table. But as soon as I started telling myself like, okay, dude, like and it's still hard. Like I still haven't let go of a lot of stuff that I will eventually let go of. I'm trying to just not do paperbacks at all when it comes to Western comics, because I know that if that book does get printed, what?
If I buy them all, it will become an Omni.
Yeah, if I sell to Jess or someone else with that power, then everything I got. No, but like it's just like
Jess is the field of dreams of comic collectors.
For real.
If he buys it, they will reprint it.
They will. But it's just, the idea is like, why should I spend so much money on something that down the line, if they reprint it as an omnibus, I'm just going to sell it for the hardcover? And I can enjoy the series just as much reading it digitally via apps or buying a cheap digital copy or whatever the case is. And that's what these things are really for. And that's another thing that you have to think about to avoid any sort of like FOMO or drive to grab something is the idea that like we're in this hobby because we enjoy comics. We're not in this hobby because we enjoy sticking things on shelves and not touching them.
I thought I was in this hobby to make money in a good YouTube channel. Sorry.
That too.
Well, it's important now to follow your guidelines because there are more, because of the pandemic. It seems like we have a lot more collectors in the hobby that are making even new books go out of print faster. And so it's not just a problem of I didn't get my hands on Secret Warriors 5 years ago, but it's a problem of She-Hulk by Dan Slott omnibus is already out of print and it just came out. So I can see how FOMO is fed by I can see how even people who've been in the hobby a long time can get FOMO because you don't want
because there's less of a window where like you're basically every week going to be looking at the idea of like, if I don't grab this book this week, there's a chance I won't be able to grab it.
Right.
But that's not a good, I don't think that's a good mindset necessarily to have, because that's just going to lead to, you're going to have problems because you're just going to want to keep buying and buying and buying. And really a lot of it is just going to sit on the shelf. I mean, I'm always a staunch advocate for do your research, know what you like, and buy within a budget. Set a fucking budget, which was a mistake I will admit I made in my early 20s. And I've been cleaning it up for the past few years because of that mistake, and I'm still working on it. The biggest advice I give somebody is please do yourself a solid. Set a budget, refuse to go over it, and stick to it. If you can only afford one omnibus a month, okay, that's fine. There are other budget-conscious options if you want to read this stuff. There's I'm beating a dead horse, but digital for me is honestly 100% more cheaper. DC's got their app, Marvel's got their app. You guys know about it at this point. $10 a month. La 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 la. You can get most of this stuff online legally in a cheaper method for pennies on the dollar, what you're going to pay for these books. If you're that kind of crunch, I see omnibuses as a luxury. These really are, because they are pricey books.
Yeah, and it exists in the floppy market too right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in a chat, and I'll just say his first name, Paul, because I don't know if he wants me to say his last name. But he's in a chat. Matt Miranda is in the chat tonight. He and Matt Miranda and I are in a chat for just general collectibles. And he said maybe yesterday, does anybody know where I can get a copy of I can't remember what the book is now. I'll have to go back to that chat, but I closed Messenger. It was a floppy, but it sold out so fast that it's now on its third printing, and it's only been out a week. And I said, if you do want it, you need to go to the publisher's website because they're selling it. Well, the second printing already got sold out, and he's like, all I want to do is read it. I'm not speculating on it. I just want to read it. And I think he eventually went to Comixology to get it. Let me see what book that was. That book was You Promised Me Darkness, #1 from Behemoth Comics, which is I haven't read it yet. It's supposed to be really good.
Yeah.
But I haven't read it yet. But it's wildly popular. I think speculators have glommed onto it. And so now it's on its third printing. And all Paul wanted to do was just read it. And I don't know if it's FOMO or the speculator market or what, but I said, I looked and I said, if you want it, you should get it now because the second printing's almost sold out. It was only like $3.99, but now it's on its third printing. And he said, I just want to read the thing. I don't want to, have to jump through hoops. So I think he just went to Comixology. I know it's a popular book. But I mean, I haven't read it yet, so I don't know anything about it. But your point of there are other means to reading these books is a great one because there's somebody, Paul, who just wanted to read the book and he can't find it at an LCS anywhere because it's sold out. And so digital's the only avenue for it.
Right. And I think you can lump a lot of the people in our group and a lot of the fans that we have into two categories that cross over a lot, which are the collectors and the readers. And you're gonna have that select core that's like, yeah, I collect these things and I read them. I enjoy them. I enjoy reading them. I want these things preserved. I like the reprints. I like to have them on my shelf. There's nothing wrong with that. Then you also have the group that are just like, you know what? I just want to read the stories. I don't really care necessarily how I get them. I just want to enjoy the stories that are put out by Marvel and DC and Image or any publisher that I want. And I just want to sit down with a good story. And then you have the collectors, which we know a lot of who they are, where they're buying every single book and they just have them on the shelves. And again, do you boo? That is your money. Spend your money how you want it. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. But they're sticking books on their shelves and they're not necessarily even doing anything with them. They're sealed. There's hundreds of omnibuses.
Hey, now you're getting personal.
No. But Jess, but you read your books. You do read your books. We joke about it, but you sit down and you select what you want to read. But we know those collectors that they just stick the books on the shelves, and then they're like, yeah, okay, I've just got them on the shelves. I'm going to resell them. I'm going to do whatever I want with them. Some of them have. Never mind. I'm not going to get into that. But yeah, that's the bottom line of it.
I have a thing where I don't like to unseal my books until I read them. So everybody looks at my shelves and say, what are you doing? And I'm just like, I don't like unsealing them until I'm ready to read them. I unsealed Dr. Aphra because I plan on reading her starting tomorrow once I finish my reading for Crime Corner. But Moon Knight I want to read, but it's still sealed. But whatever. I know what you're saying. And I know what you're saying. So here's Lionheart saying, that's our Mika. I changed my avatar so I can show you who our Mika is. She's from Street Fighter. Okay, so that's our Mika. Armika or Armika?
Armika?
Armika. Okay.
I was trying to see if that comic that you were mentioning shows up on the what's it called? Key Comic Collector app.
Oh.
Or Key Collector Comics app, which I think I mentioned before, maybe last week or something, and I haven't mentioned it in any of my videos yet, but this app is really cool. I know I don't collect keys or anything, but I'm going to be using it in some of my videos because they organize everything by like you could click on the section for Falcon and Winter Soldier and it tells you like all of the different first appearances of different characters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really interesting for people who are like trying to get into reading the comics as well, not just people collecting the singles, because then you're like, oh, I'm really interested in what is Madripoor, for instance, and then it tells you like first appearance, New Mutants number 32. So it's really cool. So I partnered with them, and so you can get like a free, I think, 2-week trial. I forget what my code is, but I have a link on one of my videos. So you get like a trial to their premium service. It's somewhere on my channel. I have the link somewhere.
Well, I'm not alone in keeping my books sealed.
The only, not the only, but like the biggest argument with that is obviously like
damage.
Don't, you suffer if they're damaged, because then you might not read it for months and months and months, and then by that time you can't, especially now, you can't really ask for a replacement or anything because these books are gone by that point.
Yeah, that's a good point. If I keep it sealed and just stick it on my shelf, and it turns out it's Silver Surfer, the reprint came with a mistake, and how will I ever know? I mean, I won't know what kind of copy I get because I don't open it until I read it in 2 years or something. And if it's all messed up, I have no avenue to get a refund or anything. So that is a downside. Yeah.
Yeah, like I always check, like I just got the Death in the Family Deluxe Edition, and so I don't plan on reading this for years probably, because I've already read the story. I just wanted it because I love the story, so I wanted it in Deluxe Edition. But I opened it up to make sure like there's nothing wrong with it, and also because it has the alternate artwork at the end, so it shows like what the pages would have looked like had Jason.
Oh, fans had voted a different way.
Yeah, so I wanted to see that.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's got a few pages in the back they have alt circled on them. It's the alternate version, and he goes into a coma instead of dying. And they did color one of the pages just where he's holding him and says he's alive.
Oh,
thank God.
Oh, they colored that one, but the others are all sketches.
That one it says in 2006 was printed in Batman Annual 25 to mark the return of Jason Todd. So I just, throwing that out there, that was interesting.
Yeah.
It's really, really nicely put together book, though.
Carly says, Jess, if you know a certain book is known for errors, you can open those, but I agree with you about keeping them wrapped otherwise. Sasmurf has a different opinion. I keep them wrapping until I read them as well, to be honest. Makes it easier to sell if I decide that I won't read it.
You're still running the risk, though. Like, not every... You take that risk willingly, knowing that you might be losing money, or you might not be able to return it if something is wrong with it. Because I've had books that there's not a massive printing error, but I've opened it and the binding is terrible, or it's missing a page or something like that. That's just the nature of these. Not every single book is going to come out perfectly.
Yeah.
If you have something like that and you sell it on eBay, for instance, and your buyer comes back to you and says like, "Hey, this is damaged. I don't want this." Like, eBay's going to side with the buyer, and then you're going to have to give them a refund, and they might send it back to you. So it winds up being a big hassle in that case.
Yeah,
I guess unless you like clarify like any issues, I'm not responsible, blah blah blah. I don't know how that works. I'm done with using eBay though, so I not really.
One thing I do worry about more than printing or text bubbles or pages out of order, I worry about those printing errors where you open up a book and it's been pressed. I mean, the book's already been put together and there's that extra hunk of paper didn't get cut properly. And it's like folded in or something, and you open it up and it's like a pop out where you get where a flange of the page sticks out, or it's been pressed into the book. So it's more production errors that I'm worried about physically than I am with like speech bubbles not being there.
Or like the off chance something's printed upside down.
Yeah. Well, then I just flip the book upside down.
Yeah, that especially. I was gonna say. I know I saw someone I think in the group a while ago that had some issue like that, and I was like, well, I mean, it has a dust jacket. Just like flip the dust jacket upside down and put it.
Was the whole book printed upside down?
Yeah, like the book block was upside down and like the cover was normal.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember what book it was. It's probably something with the X-Men.
Here's somebody with a good memory. Joe Chip says, Jess, thank God you kept that Omnibus 2 sealed. It didn't even leave the box before I turned around and sold it back to somebody in the group for $35 after Omar jammed me up about how crappy it was. Oh, T-Lar Blunt is in the chat. You can avoid FOMO if you just get everything. No fear. Really?
Wow.
Here's what I have from T-Lar Blunt. The hostages are apparently in this box, but I haven't opened it yet. So Schrodinger's cat, are they in there or are they not? We won't know until I open it. And who knows what T-Lar Blunt sent me. It could be a bunch of G.I. Joe figures that I don't even want.
I'm going to go ahead and say it's a bunch of empty cans of root beer.
I think it's gonna be a dead cat.
Oh,
that got dark. We have empty
Schrodinger's cat
and a dead cat. I don't think it's a. Well, let's see what a dead cat. Well, there's something in there that. There's something loose in there. Because it keeps falling up and down. So it could be one of the hostages' arms that he pulled off in that video.
Yeah. He bought a bunch of issues of that Darkhawk, that Darkhawk book that came out last week and sent them to you.
He sent a stack of Darkhawk comics.
Did anybody read that Darkhawk like one shot that came out last week?
I'm so behind.
Oh, there's a Darkhawk that came out?
It was like a one shot that came out last week in celebration of its like the character's 25th anniversary or something.
Oh, okay. I don't. I would read Dark. I remember I liked Darkhawk back in the 90s. I just didn't like him in the War of Kings trilogy.
Oh God, that was terrible.
That
was my Vietnam. God.
It caused me to quit and sell all those books.
I remember that now. That broke you. You were doing such great on that thing.
I know it was good up until that. Then it did break me. Here's my JLA Avengers is like that manufactured defect where the page is folded in a triangle inside. That's exactly what I'm worried about.
Mm-hmm.
I used to think that was funny when I was in school and I'd see that in the textbooks and I'm like, that's funny. And then I'd just like rip the little thing off. And then like I'd start getting it with books I'd buy and I'm like, that's annoying. So you just gotta have a razor on you and just razor blade that shit off of there.
Mm-hmm.
Where were we about fearfully missing out on books?
Well, Lou made the point that everything's available digitally,
Yeah.
so you shouldn't have FOMO if something goes out of print really quickly. If you're interested in the material, you can read it on a Marvel app or a DC app or Comixology or digitally somehow.
Yes, and the other thing that he said that I was agreeing highly with is like do your research into what you're trying to get. And something that I've like been able to do really well is beforehand I would get almost every major omnibus release, plus I would, be getting all these paperbacks and stuff. And so I, like I said, I kind of shed all the paperbacks. I'm getting very few, like only the top tier A+ important stuff like Incredible Hercules. But which, Jess, I know you ordered that.
Right.
I told you to.
You did tell me to, and I did it. I have the first volume, which I checked after I ordered the second volume, and I think it might actually be hard to find now, the first volume. I'm looking.
You might be right. But
yeah,
I'm not buying nearly as many of those Omnis anymore. Like I know you were texting me the other day about Defenders, and I was like, yeah, I skipped out on that one. And me from like 2 years ago, I probably would have bought it. But now when every week when I'm seeing, which books are coming out, I have to sit down and really think to myself, like, do I care about that much? Like Flashpoint, for instance, came out this week. And originally I had intended on buying it. But then, I mean, they made it a lot easier with that Flash Volume 3 announcement because then because the main thing I wanted was Flashpoint oversized. But I'm not going to spend $80-$90 or whatever on an omnibus that has the one thing I care about having oversized and then a bunch of stuff that I actually don't really care about, just because I have this desire to have like all the major events on a shelf. And I'm like, I don't need all those because I have all the stuff. Like I have Blackest Night, and I realized more recently, like, I don't know why I bought Blackest Night because I have the stuff I care about already. And the tie-ins, for the most part, aside from like the GLC stuff, most of the tie-ins are not stuff that I care that much about.
Yeah.
So it's, do the research and really be honest with yourself about what you care about and what you want. I bought the first, the Conan omnibus of the old stuff. I bought it and I looked at it and it was not nearly as quick of a turnaround as you, Jess, but like I bought it and looked at it and was like, I'm not going to read this. Like this is not really that enticing at all to me. Mm-hmm. And I'm definitely not going to like sign up for a 10 volume set. Like that's like just not. And that's another thing, like when you're kind of getting into buying something, you can think about the idea of like how many volumes is this set going to be. Is it, if it's a single volume thing, that's one thing, but if it's going to be a set, like that might make or break your decision, is the idea of how much of an investment. Because like you might spur of the moment be like, yeah, I'm going to buy the first Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu volume. And then when you get to the point where the second one and the first volume of Deadly Hands had come out, it's like, do I still really want to buy these? Because that's a 6-volume set. It's not just that one decision. You're deciding on an entire, and that's a set I did buy all of, and I'm happy that I have that. I still haven't read all of it, but I love looking at those books. But just an example of something like that.
Well, for Conan,
sometimes it's hard, even like stuff that I love, like the TMNT hardcovers. I love those books, but it's rough, like, because they don't get the high discounts and they upped the price on those. So it's rough, like every single volume, like 2 or 3 times a year, where I'm like, God, now I have to drop another $40 or whatever, however much they are now after discount. It's tough.
With Conan, I set a limit of the first 4 of each, and I'm sticking to that because that's the material I grew up with. And I understand why it wasn't for you. It was same with Defenders. I understand why it wasn't for you. I think I would have been surprised if you wanted Defenders. Now that I think about it, because I don't see that material being something you really want to read. I do, even though I still think it's one of the oddest groups ever put together, but that's why I remember liking it as a kid, was because it was so weird and so bizarre. But I'm happy cutting Conan off at volume 4 of each series.
Jesus, that's a big series.
Sorry?
That's going to be a big set of books. How many, what's the estimate on that?
I think it's 10 of each, at least 10 of each.
Oh my God.
That's huge.
20 Omnis or 22 Omnis, whatever it's going to be. I'm not going to read it. I know I will read the first ones. And I know I'll read that Kurt Busiek Conan too.
Mm-hmm.
But I
did get that one. I will say that I got that because I've read a little bit of the more modern Conan stuff, like back when Brian Wood first started at Dark Horse on Conan, and I enjoyed what I had read of that stuff. So I was like, okay, well, if I enjoyed that, and I've enjoyed what I've read of Kurt Busiek's stuff in the past, I decided to take a chance on that one. So we'll see. I haven't read through it, but we'll see like how I feel on it.
You have a question. Question for Ryley. Will the Urasawa Perfect Editions of Monster be reprinted, or could they be evergreen?
I think they're getting reprinted because one of them at least was he said Monster, right?
Monster, yeah.
Yeah, all of them are out of print right now. But I think that's happened before. I think they've gone out of print and come back before at least once. And I would imagine they keep it in print because Viz is doing something right now that I'm really a fan of, where they are giving focus to certain creators and trying to actually like publish a lot of those creators' works. And Urasawa is one of those creators that they're doing that for. And so I feel like with that, they're going to want to keep it going. Just with people who might be jumping on the bandwagon with the Perfect Editions of 20th Century Boys. And then they're also doing like Asadora right now. They just published Sneeze. They're probably going to have a lot of people looking and being like, well, damn, now I want to go get Monster. So I would be surprised if it doesn't come back into print sometime soon.
Okay, that answers that. As I'm
look at.
Okay, and let's see. I haven't been keeping up with the comments, so let's see. Yeah,
and looking at for Monster, looking at Right Stuff, all of their listings, none of them say like unavailable. It's all expecting more, which like if you're interested, this is the advice that I would give, like set the email alerts on the items at Right Stuff. Because sometimes they'll come back into availability like real quick and then be gone. Or even pre-order, like put in orders for that stuff. If you have the cash at the time, like put the orders in, because as soon as they're available, that means you're going to get the first go on that. Because a lot of these books, I guarantee you, like you're looking at these books on Right Stuff, for instance, and it's never changed from the out of stock expecting more. I guarantee you it's because they've gotten stuff in, but people have already ordered it. So it's just going in and right back out. So they're not even updating the site to say that they have it in stock.
Here's Cleveland Brown. Phew, good thing I bought all the Perfect Editions of Monster last year. Oh my God, FOMO is real. In NFL Dude, how's it going, dude? How does having time to read play into you all fending off FOMO? CU has a borrow capacity of 50 books, and I use the wish list as a queue. Is that Comixology Unlimited? It must be. And I use the wish list as a queue. I currently have 467 books plus 50 borrowed. I can't make fun of that. I have my whole library that I'm trying to get at one book at a time. So I don't know. Time to read. I feel like I just want to get something and I will make time to read it. I have a hell of a lot more Hulk because of Ryley than I ever did. And I don't know that I'm going to really get to it, but I really want to. But now all the Peter David Hulk's coming out too. And I'm like, oh, I have to get that too to read it because it's all supposed to be really good. Oh, and there's Incredible Hercules Volume 1 with my Hulk stuff.
This is Jess talking about his own FOMO.
Yeah, I do have a FOMO issue. I definitely, I think
a lot of yours is not just, it's not specifically FOMO, but a lot of the stuff that you wind up buying is because you have a lot of people that you trust their opinions. Like if one of us tells you, like, Jess, this is a really good book, you probably would like it. Like it's very likely that you're going to be like, okay, I'll go ahead and get it.
That sounds right.
It's not so much that, like, it's because I told you, like, you have to buy the Red Hulk by Jeff Parker because you're not going to be able to get it after this.
Oh,
you know, like it's because I was like, dude, Red Hulk, Jeff Parker run, that's one of my favorites. Incredible Hercules, grab it. Like something that's still available, the second volume at least. It's not because I was like, dude, it's about to go to print, you better get it.
Right.
It was something that I just say is really good. Which is fine, like, to different degrees and stuff, you know. But it all comes down, you know, as Lou was hammering in on, and everyone else will agree with, is just setting budgets and stuff. Like, you can take a million recommendations from people, but, like, make sure that you're not putting yourself into debt, basically. Like, make sure that you're not putting yourself in a bad position and that should be, like, the biggest cutoff. You know, like, if you're in a position where you, like, are buying things and don't actually have the money to buy it, that's where, you know, there's a definite issue.
Yeah.
And that's something, like, in the video that I have the notes and stuff for, that I'm going to be mentioning, is like, starting to collect when you're budgeting. And I was talking to Megan, I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, you know, I'm going to tell people, I'm not trying to be like a Dave Ramsey type character, but make sure you have all your bills and necessities paid for. And then whatever you have left, don't use all of that. Like, you need to put some stuff to the side. And that's something I think a lot of people, especially younger people who are just, you know, getting into making their own budget, they make that mistake of thinking, like, okay, well, I've got, just throwing numbers out there, I've got $1,000 left after bills and stuff each month. So that means I have $1,000 to just blow on whatever I want. And that's what a lot of people will do. And, like, you know, when you're younger, when I was living at home with my parents and I had no bills, then sure, if I had $400 that I was making each month from working at a movie theater, then yeah, that was $400 that I could spend on whatever I wanted. But then once I got older and it was, you know, my wife and I are responsible for our own lives, and I'm not living with my parents and I have to worry about, you know, rent or mortgage and my car payments and all this stuff, like, whatever I have left, excuse me, we make sure that most of that goes into savings or stays in the bank, because you never know what's going to happen. And it's, you know, the proverbial rainy day fund.
Yeah.
And how many times do you see people who are like, oh my gosh, like, my car broke down and I have to sell all these things because I have to pay for my car repairs. That's where you don't want to find yourself. That's the main reason why I bring that topic up, is because if you're trying to, like, you know, we're hobbyists at the end of the day. Like, you're building your collection, you're building a library. You don't want to have to, like, shed pieces of your library against your will, basically. So making sure that you're not going beyond your means and creating that that savings and that rainy day fund, that prevents like the possibility, oh, I got in a car accident, now I have to pay for this, that, and this. Good thing I have my rainy day fund. Otherwise, I would have to sell all these books that I really didn't want to sell.
Yeah.
And then have to worry about grabbing them later. Like you don't want to be in that position. Like my wife and I were talking about it like a night or two ago, and I forget what exactly it was, but we were like, if this particular thing happened, because she was talking to her sister about like building savings and stuff like that, because her sister doesn't really have anything. And she's, we have this much. And she's like, oh man, like you guys have a good amount. And she's like, well, just think about it like this. If this particular thing were to happen, that would wipe out like half of our savings, because you never know like exactly what could happen. After the ice storms and stuff, the snowstorms that we got, had our house gotten damaged, we could have been out a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that would have really sucked to be someone who like is like, oh man, like my pipes broke and now I have to replace like a million different things, and so I have to sell all of my collectible baseball cards because my house got messed up. So that's why I go into the budgetary thing. I try to lean heavily on the idea of making sure that you're not spending all of your surplus cash each month. Like put away half of it, put away 2/3 of it, whatever. Like put away a good amount of it, so you can lean back on that.
Ever since I've known you, I've always been impressed with your budget setting.
It's not me. It's not me, man.
It's Megan. Well, you're doing it though. I mean, you don't have. You're buying into the idea, and that's the important thing. You're setting the budget. You're following her good example. I'm sure there's plenty of people. I've always been impressed with that you actually have that budget and stick with it. And I was impressed with Lou's decision to go completely digital, because that was what fit into his lifestyle more.
It's also the best way to get rid of FOMO altogether, is just not have physical stuff.
Yeah,
it really is.
The only thing you're going to be in fear of missing out on is wanting to read something before spoilers pop up.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot easier to do.
Lou.
Yeah, no, that's true. I for the most part, what I've been doing is I've been reading. Well, I tend to read weekly now. The books that I want to read, so I'm pretty much caught up on a lot of stuff except for like the last 2 months. But that's just because we're ramping up towards the wedding and the big move and stuff like that. So I just haven't had that much time. But I have found myself that I personally really enjoy. I still really enjoy that weekly grind of picking up books every week and seeing what the new stories are and being genuinely surprised, because we live a huge chunk of our time online. That's just the nature of our generation, Ryley. But between Twitter and between the Facebook groups and between just anything in general. So stuff tends to get spoiled within 10, 15 minutes of it being already released into the wild. So I tend to, Wednesday when I start reading my books, I tend to kind of ignore all the stuff online.
Yep.
And now it's becoming a bit ridiculous, because it's getting to the point where even the creators of the books are spoiling stuff the day it comes out. Like, I love Ryan Stegman, but he's like, oh, here's the ending of King in Black. This is how the story ends. And he's posting the picture of like full pages on his Twitter page. And I'm like, dude, the book just came out today.
It's like the social media, like official social media accounts revealing, like, for instance, like the Disney or Marvel showing what happens in each episode of the shows that are coming out, like the day of, and you're like, come on.
Yeah, no. Oh, that's right. Falcon and Winter Soldier ends tomorrow. I gotta check that out. I gotta watch that tomorrow.
Oh, we have kind of sort of mint condition in with an avatar of Omar. My mother says that I was misprinted. I love the avatar though. Kind of sort of mint condition.
It's the mint condition you get off of Wish.
Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat. Chris Original Recipe. My rules for avoiding FOMO: set a budget, pick what I'm going to get when reading solicits when I'm not watching Omnibros or NMC. 3, unless it's a certain character I collect, read digitally first. That is probably a good idea to read digitally first.
Yep, and that like certain characters and stuff that goes into rules as well. Like for me as a rule, I know that I'm going to be picking up like all, if not the vast majority of any like X-Men related hardcovers. I know that. And so paying attention, like he said, paying attention to solicitations or paying attention to different places that talk about these things, watching when Omar does announcements, I'll be like, okay, we know that this X-Men book is going to be coming out, so I will have that on my radar. I know that I want to have, $60 or whatever set aside for that book whenever it comes out. And that's the other thing that's excellent is like knowing how far ahead these books are coming out, you have the opportunity to set stuff up. You have the opportunity to say like, well, I have 6 months to make sure that like whenever that item comes out that I'm good to go. It's not like they're dropping it next week. It's not like they're like, hey, Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 5 is now happening and it's coming out in 3 weeks. Good luck. No.
When is Uncanny X-Men 5 being released?
In 3 weeks. Good luck.
Oh, okay.
But not really. I mean, I haven't heard anything. If someone else has heard anything, tell me. But no, like, well, for something that does exist, like Omar recently had mentioned New Mutants 2 and Excalibur 2, both are coming. So I know that I'm going to be buying both of those volume 2s without a doubt.
Yeah.
And so I know like, 6 to 8 or plus months ahead, depending on delays and stuff. And so I know that next year, whenever the end of the year, I know that those are 2 items that I'm going to be picking up. And if by the time that they come out, I haven't either saved up the money or done something, work overtime, beg my wife for a bigger budget, like whatever I need to do. If I haven't done that, then that's on me, for not hitting that.
Let's see. This was I actually sort of agree with Mr. Awesome here. My regret was the IDW TMNT, a good series, but man, no end in sight. And that you mentioned TMNT before. I do have 12 volumes of TMNT, and I've read 7 of them. And when I can get Tyler Blunt to read 8 through 12, I want to get all those read too. That's something that I've been reviewing with Tyler. But that's a good point. I don't know that I'm good for. I love the series. I love everything about it. I don't know that I'm going to be in for 8 more volumes of TMNT.
Well, let me tell you, if you don't want to keep going, 13 will be the best one to stop at.
Oh, okay.
Because 13 is going to collect. 13 should collect through issue 100, and after 100 is where they have a massive creator change and like a change in direction. Yeah, it should be volume 13. Whatever ends with 100.
Okay.
13 or 14, whatever volume ends with 100. Because after that, they even renamed the paperbacks to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Reborn, and it's starting with a new volume 1. So they could potentially even start with new hardcover volume 1 if they wanted. But yeah, it's a new direction for the book, new direction for the creative team and stuff like that. It's an easy place to jump off if you don't want to keep going. I've only read the first several issues. I'm not caught up. I'm probably like 3 or 4 behind right now. And it's still good. Like, don't get me wrong, but when you're looking for that excuse to jump off of something, that's the perfect place to do it.
Yeah. Okay, good. That is great. Because I do, as much as I love it, I have to stop at some point, because there's another thing. I don't have time on my side. I guess nobody can say, anything's for certain, but I am older than you guys. And so I don't want to add to my backlog because I have such a big backlog. I actually do want to get to these books, but I don't know. Let's say I have 20 more good years. I would have to stop now buying to get through everything I own. Probably. maybe 10
just start taking like Adderall first thing in the morning, every single morning.
There you go.
And just every 4 hours, pop a pill, just read all day, get up at 7, go to bed at 11, do it again every single day until you work through everything. You're going to finish like 2 Omnis a day.
Here's a good question, because I haven't read this. Have you read Jason Aaron's Conan yet? Anybody? I haven't.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I think that one's a lot more, I've heard it's very referential towards the older stuff. I had a lot of hopes going into it because Jason Aaron is one of my favorite creators.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of those things where it was like, I just am not familiar enough with the character to care as much as I thought I would.
How about Jason Aaron's Avengers?
There's parts that are good, there's parts that are not good, and there's a lot of it is very middling.
I've heard not great things about that run.
It's like every arc almost is like an event, is what he's trying to do. Like every single arc is supposed to be an event, and it's like sometimes the ideas are interesting, other times I just completely forget what the heck he was doing. And it's weird because it's almost like he's in his own corner of the Marvel universe, because it's rare that the issues tie into another event or something like that. So it's like everyone else is doing their thing, and then he's dealing with, the Avengers Khonshu arc, and then he has like a Phoenix arc, and it's always something. It's something huge. There's never like downtime between the story arcs is one of the things. And that's something like you get event fatigue from a single series almost. Like you don't get any time to just focus on who these characters are, and for Jason Aaron to show you that he understands these characters and can write an interesting narrative with them. There's parts that are good, and it has really good artists, but overall it's just not to the level that I expected from him, going from like basically anything mutant related that he's done or his Thor run. He just didn't hit it for me on his Avengers as much as I hoped he would.
Guys, I gotta bow out on this one. So,
all right, where can we find you on the social media?
You can find me on Twitter at ComicsGuide101, and you can find my old archive of videos at ComicsGuide101 on YouTube. Thanks, guys.
Good to have you. Take it easy.
Later, dude.
All right. I will see you all. Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. The Patreon campfire is tomorrow night. At what? What time? 9?
8 o'clock. I think it was 8 o'clock Eastern time, I believe is what we agreed on. So that'll be tomorrow night. Come hang out with us. $5 a month. Patreon link is down below. And you get an invitation around 8 o'clock. And it's really fun. We're just going to shoot the shit with all of you. And you get to talk to us one-on-one.
It is fun. Friday night's date night for me, though. And I can't. But no, it was not a popular idea that I do a Patreon instead of watching a movie with my wife. So I think you can feel me there.
I think that's the position I'll be in as well.
That's all right. Me, Gabe, and I'll take care of it. All right, guys. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks,
Later,
Lou.
dude.
Bye.
I know before we jumped into doing the video and you sent me like what we're going to be talking about, you mentioned about the price of single issues.
Oh yeah, Gabe
said climbing up.
Yeah, Gabe had said if we were lacking topic ideas, one thing is how much everything's costing these days, how floppies are expensive and omnis are now 125. A lot of them are. Hardcovers are more expensive. It's just things are just more expensive to collect.
I bring that up because it was funny. Earlier today, I saw a video from someone where like they were saying, I don't know why people say comics are expensive. Like these are like $3, and all the comments, people were like, yeah, this book was like $3. This was $4. I'm like, you're talking about $3, $4 for like 20 pages worth of material. I don't know in what world that's not expensive, because no one's buying just a single magazine, right? Like you're not going to a comic shop on a Wednesday just to pick up one issue of Spider-Man. You're probably going to pick up at least 10 different books.
Yeah.
That's when it adds up. Like I just thought that was a silly argument. And then like when you're seeing the base price start rising further, but the content is not going anywhere. Like it was one thing when we had $2.99 was the base price, and then it was $3.99 if it had a backup feature. That was one thing. Like you're getting 8 pages of extra material, whether you care about it or not. At least they're giving it to you. But like then they cut the back features, and then everything went to $3.99. And that was the last major hike. And then remember, like DC with the New 52, they did that whole like drawing the line at $2.99, and all their books were $2.99. I was like, that's cool because that makes it easy for me to, once again talking about budgets. It made me easy to budget because I'm like, all right, if I get 10 different series from DC per month, then I know that I'm spending $30 just on DC books every month. Cool. And then they stopped. And they started introducing books that were $3.99 again. I was like, God damn it. Like, you guys are killing me here. And now they're trying to push it to $5 and $6. And it's like, if you're not going to give me extra content, I don't know what I'm going to tell you, bub. Like, I can't keep up with this stuff.
Yeah, I have a Hoopla account where I use that to try stuff out instead of just buying it. I haven't been using it as much as I should, but that's one thing Taylor Brown got me into, and Kristan Robertson got me into a lot, is the Hoopla account.
And that's such a good idea, like to try stuff before you actually go into it. Like, and there's so many avenues to do that. Like you're saying with Hoopla, and then like you can usually get previews, like maybe a free first issue for a series somewhere, especially for, I think Image might do first issues for free, or at least for cheap. And it's such a good idea to like, it goes back to Lou saying, do your research. Like, don't buy something blind. Like buying something blind is fine every once in a while, but like, because it can be fun to be like, oh man, I had no idea what this was, but then I jumped on it and I really loved it. But if you're buying like half of the stuff that you buy without knowing anything about it, like that's when it starts being an issue. Because it's like, shit, I don't know anything about, I don't know something I don't know about.
Everything.
I mean, like, let's say that I didn't know anything about Moon Knight and I bought the Omnibus. Like, what if I read that and I really freaking hated it? Like, I open it up 3 years down the line and I just did not like it at all. That sucks. Yeah. Or like, what if I didn't stop with Conan? There's a good one. What if I decided I'm going to buy every single Conan book? I didn't do any research, and so I have like a whole damn shelf of 10 volumes of Savage Sword and 20 volumes of Conan the Barbarian and Kurt Busiek and Tim Truman and whatever else they decide to do. And then one day I'm like, all right, I'm going to start reading these books. And I've spent like thousands of dollars.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And then I find out that I really don't care. Like I read like 2 of them and I have to trudge through it. And by the end of the second one, I'm like, I'm going to either like jump off of a roof or I'm going to get rid of these right now.
Here's a proponent. Alex Gomez says, sometimes it's fun to take a chance. I got the Cloak and Dagger Omni and it was great. That's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes like you take those chances every once in a while and you'll get something good, but like don't go 20 books deep into Conan without knowing it.
That's good to hear, because I also got Cloak and Dagger and I haven't read it, but I remember it enough from my younger days that I think I'd probably dig it.
I mowed. I just got the missing out on the Cloak and Dagger. I didn't FOMO. I just mowed.
You just missed out on it.
Yeah, and it sucks because I did want it, but it was one of those things where I was like, it was a real up and down for me, because I was like, they have like they're related to both like the X-Men and Spider-Man, like 2 of the franchises that I pretty much buy everything for.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do it, and I'm actually kind of upset. Like I meant to go buy that, and then it went bye-bye. And now like I think volume 2 is happening, and I'm like, shit, hopefully they reprint the first one, because that I actually would like to get. I think the main thing was just I didn't have the money for it at the time, and because I was sticking to my budget, I didn't spend over, and then I didn't buy it, and now I'm sitting here cloakless and daggerless.
Don't be sad, Jesus. I was just being practical and saying I'm not checking out anytime soon, I hope. I was just saying I was just sort of saying that I have a lot of backlog, really is what I meant.
Yeah, Omnidog's here for a long time, not a good time.
Let's see. Gabrielle was asking for financial advice in the chat, and Chat Omnidog gave him good advice, and I know Chat Omnidog pretty well, and he knows what's going on with his finances, and he's also an incredible tightwad, so he's a good person to take financial advice from about the percentage that you want to try and save. I would say you should save as much as possible, as much as is humanly possible.
Like how much after monthly expenses you put into savings?
Yeah, as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I can't put a percentage figure on it because let's see, from years 0 to, how long have we been married? Okay, 5, 7, 14, 20. Years 0 through 20 of our marriage, I just saved and saved and saved as much as I could and invested it all in as much as I possibly could. And then 7 years ago, she took a new job and there were no savings from that job because at that point, she just needed a break. And we actually we have been living off our savings ever since, plus whatever I had made in the stock market at that point.
Yeah.
My point is that you should just have a chunk of your paycheck taken out automatically if you can and invest it in a 401k or stick it in the bank or whatever you can, and set a chunk aside like Ryley's saying, and for fun money, because you have to have fun money. It can't be.
Yeah.
You have to have fun money so you have fun.
We treat it like it's a bill. Like that's honestly what we do every month. Like when everything's broken up, there is a specific amount set aside for fun money, and then from there everything that's left over goes divvied up into savings accounts and stuff like that.
We will all be long dead, and Jess will still be reading Golden Age Superman. This is probably me too. Most of this from Marcelo. Most of the stuff I buy are blind buys in the sense that I haven't read it, but I always have enough recommendations that I take the chance. I don't remember regretting any buys that way. That's pretty much how I do it. Is I get lots of recommendations. A lot of them are from Ryley, and a lot of them are from not Omar, who likes Batman Year 2.
Here's what I think I mentioned this before. Here's what I do. I told my wife actually last night, if I can't talk about a book for 2 or 3 minutes or longer, whatever, then I'm not going to buy it. Like if I can't sit here and tell you for a few minutes why I want to buy Incredible Hercules, then I don't need it. Because it doesn't matter if I've read it or not. Like let me look what's coming out that I have on my list right now. And that's another thing. I keep my lists and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I haven't read the Mark Waid Justice League of America stuff, the JLA. I haven't read Tower of Babel or anything.
Oh,
but
that's such a good story.
I could sit here, and because of the stuff that people have told me and recommended it to me, I could sit here and tell you for a few minutes, like, so JLA by Mark Waid is coming out. This has several of the issues that were not collected in the Morrison Omnibus. This is an oversized hardcover, so it's going to match up real nice on there. I love Mark Waid. I've read XYZ, tons of things by Mark Waid. I love what he's done both at Marvel and DC. the artist in the, actually I don't even remember who the artist is in there, but I know who the artist is if I actually want to talk about it. Like, I like that artist. You know, the story Tower of Babel, I haven't read it before, but it sounds really great because this is where Batman does XYZ. Like, I could sit here and talk to you about JLA, even though I haven't read it, but I can talk about it and give you that argument for why, like, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And if I haven't even read something and I could make you want it, then I feel like I know enough to, you know, I validate my desire to buy that thing by being able to do that.
Is that a book that's coming out?
I have it currently for next week, but I'm not sure.
Mark Waid?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could look at Amazon.
I didn't know about that book. How did I miss that?
You didn't know about it at all?
No, not until right now.
Well,
is it a hardcover or paperback?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's coming out. Amazon has it listed for the 27th, so unless Lunar doesn't have it at the same date for whatever reason, but that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, it's coming out on the 27th. It's a deluxe edition hardcover with issues 18 through 21, 32 through 33, and 43 through 46, and stories from JLA Secret Files #3. So basically all of that JLA stuff that he did around the time that Morrison was working on.
I can't wait to get that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so there you go. And I've not read it before, but I can talk about it enough and convince you why I'm gonna read it is a good, like why I'm making a good choice in wanting to buy it.
Right. Well, I definitely want it. It's Mark Waid and it's superheroes. See, I can't go for 3 minutes. I could go for a minute. But you have more of a organized memory on comic books than I do.
I think I just talk a lot.
Let's see. I'm excited for Tower Babel. I've heard a lot about it. I only saw the animated movie. It's coming next week. Okay. How did I not know? That's absurd.
Come on, man.
Everybody seems to know about this book. Damn it. What is going on? Well, Morrison's JLA is good, and I read Tower of Babel, and I know it's great, so I'm extremely unhappy.
I think there's like 2 other issues or maybe 3 other issues that were not collected between the Mark Waid book and the Morrison book. So I know those were the things that like were the popular point of contention with like Omar and a lot of other people, that it's not collected oversized and stuff. And like I'm one of those people who I like creator centric books because usually the creators have their own through line of story. And so I don't like being interrupted, I guess. Like I like reading from beginning to end of whatever that creator was working on without having like a random issue of something in between by someone else. And so like there's that big like kind of back and forth between people who like it, you know, the completists, I guess, and then the creation or the creator centric people like myself.
Well, I just want the material.
Yeah.
I want Mark Waid's material.
Oh, shit. I realized I had like a bunch of shit inside this thing that I'm sitting on.
Oh, sorry, Josh. FOMO show, and now you got me thinking of picking up Hercules Complete Collections 1 and 2. But those are good books. So, and we didn't say we weren't going to be talking about good books. So you should get those books.
But try it out. Like if you don't have Marvel, if you do have Marvel Unlimited, then you can try it out there. And if you don't, then I think you can still do like they usually do a free trial for like a week or something. You can sign up for a free trial and then jump on Marvel Unlimited and read a few issues, see if you like it.
Now Jess has FOMO for the Mark Waid JLA.
It is what it is.
I'm just excited for it, and I'll make sure I get it. Next Imaginator is saying those are Miller issues that will hopefully be collected in a future Miller-centric OHC.
I think there's one issue by J.M. DeMatteis, though. It's like 2 by Mark Miller and 1 by J.M. DeMatteis. So I don't know, like, if DeMatteis has enough. I think it could work, because I if I'm not mistaken, I think the DeMatteis issue is like a Spectre issue, and I think DeMatteis also wrote some Spectre, like a miniseries. So it could be thrown in there. I know that, like, some people are annoyed by that when you're like, okay, well, this is over here and this is over here and this is over here, but, like, you know, I have, like, my maps and stuff. I map stuff out for, like, wish list type omnis and stuff, and for mapping out how the rest of Astonishing X-Men would be, for instance, after Joss Whedon's run. Like, there's an arc by Greg Pak, for instance, and so I take my map would be like the Greg Pak arc, and that goes into Greg Pak's Extreme X-Men Volume 2, and then that leads into the big crossover that ends with. So, like, I put Pak stuff together, but that actually makes sense because Exalted, the arc that he wrote, I think that it was what it's called, kind of leads into that. And then there was also an arc by Chris Gage. He did a few issues, and Chris Gage, as far as the X-Men goes, has written. He wrote, like, the World War Hulk miniseries, I believe, and he wrote, you know, things here and there. And so, like, I put all that together into, like, a X-Men by Chris Gage. So that's, like, the way that it works in my mind. And then other people are like, no, dude, just put all the issues of Astonishing together because it's Astonishing X-Men. Put it in a book. So I would fight with people, basically, if I was in charge of stuff.
Flomofo brings up a good point for me, because this is the same with me. I get FOMO with limited stuff. Like the Monstrous signed deluxe book that popped up on DCBS had me buying a book I was holding off on before. I'm the same way with sometimes that signed stuff. And I got burned by it recently with the P-Bag Hate collection, which I should have not gotten signed book plate, because it was just a dinky little piece of paper that was floating around in the box. It's a great set of books, but I shouldn't have spent the money on the deluxe edition because it was a crappy signature thing. And I should have, I mean, I love Hate and I love P-Bag, so I just I definitely FOMO'd on that one. I was like, oh, I totally want the signed deluxe, blah, blah, everything there, and I got burned on it. So, but the Monsters signed deluxe book, I bet that was cool. Because Monsters is a great book, and I bet that was done properly. Grass Cutter Yojimbo book that was limited and looked super good on the shelf. Got a FOMO by that. Yeah, I'm kind of guilty of that one too. Or you can wait a year for a signed Gail Simone omnibus that never arrives. That happened. That happened. I finally did get the book, but it was not signed, and I was just happy to get the book. Let's see. Marcelo says the Spectre issue is a tie into Day of Judgment, which kind of suck. Okay. Now we know that. Thank you.
Yeah, so put all of the J.M. DeMatteis stuff over there.
Right. Let's see. 500 copies and signed by the creative team. Is it still on DCBS? On the Monsters book. Do it, Jess. Damn it. I already have it. I can't. I mean, I've already got the deluxe. I can't. No, I'm not going to do that. Stop it, Flo Mofo.
No FOMO for you, Mofo.
No Flo Mofo FOMO on that. I've already got the deluxe, and stopping right there. I did get the 2 trades that followed after the deluxe because I don't know if there's going to be another deluxe or not. Of course, there will be another deluxe because I bought the trades, and that seems to be yeah, you did have to try. I give you points for that. My buying trades is what seems to be the benchmark now for what gets a hardcover. And here's the Minister of Comics trying to get me to buy Boba Fett action figure. This is a guy that wasn't even into action figures 6 months ago, and now he's trying to FOMO me into Boba Fett. Ah!
Can I mofo you into getting a helmet?
Yeah, there's that. That is so cool.
This was funny because like I got it for I think $18 at Target. And then like it was one of those clearance items. Like who the hell let this go to clearance? I don't know. And I bought it for $18, and then like for years, just like my brother-in-law constantly was like, dude, I want it so bad. Like, you got to sell it to me. And I was like, no. And then finally they re-released the helmet. So now it's like, I don't know if it's still widely available, but.
Did he get one for himself?
Yeah, he finally did. And it's like the exact same helmet. They just put it in the Black Series box. Whereas before it was in like one of those open boxes where like the front is open.
I had a Darth Vader helmet like that made noises. It was great.
Yeah, this one does
yeah. I gave it to the kid next door because I didn't have room for it.
Dang, I wish I was next door.
I'll just send it stuff to you. That's right, Cleveland Brown. Jonah Hex and All-Star Western Omnis, here we come. I have a whole trade paperback section of those books. I've actually read them all, love them, and I would upgrade those to Omnis. That's a book that I would upgrade. I generally don't. I did not get FOMO for House of X because I knew they'd release an omnibus later. Was that Hoxpox? Yeah, I didn't. I knew they announced it early that they'd be giving out. Releasing a hardcover for it. You're welcome, Carly. I appreciate the thank you there. I think it's sold out already. Just the FOMO has passed. Good. Now
it goes into ultra FOMO mode where you start paying over for it.
Yeah, I'll go to eBay now and get it for twice as much as it cost. Yeah. I got
mode on that one.
I got FOMO for the Shang-Chi Master of Kung Fu Omnis as the teaser dropped, especially since it isn't available digitally. And I can, not likely, but it won't be reprinted. I think that's a definite that it's
yeah,
those Shang-Chis are never going to be reprinted, right?
That's what they said when they first released them. And I can see how that might be a marketing ploy because then it would help the stuff sell out immediately. But like,
still available, aren't they? Most of them.
Just looking through, the second volume standard cover is still available, but everything else is either back order or just straight not available. Let me see Deadly Hands.
Because isn't there some Fu Manchu problem?
Yeah, that was why they couldn't keep it in print. The second volume of Deadly Hands, the standard cover is still available. The first volume is like back order, but it's going to go pretty soon. And then everything else is just not available. So yeah, if you're finding I'm about to FOMO everyone. If you're finding those for like cover or less, it's going to be soon. You won't be able to.
If you want them, you should get them because I really feel strongly that Marvel's not going to reprint those.
But they have been doing they are doing the epics, which I was under the impression that they couldn't print anything.
Oh,
so that's another thing to think about, is the fact that for whatever reason they're able to do epics now. And I'm not paying attention enough to like the rights and stuff. But like you said, it's Fu Manchu because Fu Manchu is not a Marvel character. Fu Manchu is like an existing character from I forget what writer. But they were, basically leasing the character for their series. as Shang's father.
Right.
All right. Well, I gotta wrap up so I can get back to doing stuff myself.
Okay, Nman 40. I will talk to you later about this. I am interested in Dick Tracy. Let's talk. If you want to watch the Omnicat show with me Saturday, I will go. I will give this question more time because I like Dick Tracy a lot, and I'd be happy to have you FOMO me into that. Let's see. I'm having FOMO blockage. InStockTrades.com. Wait, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not used to running the show anymore. InStockTrades.com, where you can find your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. At the end of every month, we're getting close to it, April 22nd. So when will we be giving it away? We will be giving it away next Monday, the 26th. So next Monday, the 26th, on the Monday show, we will be giving away the $50 gift card for InStockTrades to a lucky viewer out there. IST's kind enough to send it to us, or hook us up, whatever, however they do it. $50 or more in an order gets you free shipping in the United States, fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. Yeah, buddy. Ryley, where can they find you, and how soon will you be putting up this video that you've been taking notes on for not FOMOing and budgeting and things?
Find me at the Omnibus Collector, and it'll be. Megan thinks I should do it early because she's been working on it with me. Like, she's been helping me put together the notes and stuff. She thinks I should do that as my next video, but I told her I wanted to do my X-Men video first. So those two are supposed to be the next two that I have up sometime in the next week and a half or so. So we'll see. The X-Men video will be, it's going to be kind of a combo, my favorite runs plus helping people to get into reading the X-Men by basically telling people of my favorite runs what is accessible for new readers and like how to, get into it and stuff. Whatever, I'll figure it out. I'm still
awesome. I will definitely
putting that together.
I just sent Ryley a screenshot that I had on my top of my desktop from like 8 years ago when he had a Tumblr page, and I screenshotted it so I knew what X-Men volumes to follow, and I sent that to you, and you're like, do you need help with something in this opening it or something? And I'm like, no, I just sent it to you because I think it's funny that I've been holding on to this X-Men reading order for 8 years now since your Tumblr page.
Yeah, I was worried you needed me to help you with something. Now I'm trying to, because it was something with X Factor, wasn't it?
It'll be in our chat. I can't think of it.
Someone said, between Morrison's new X-Men and Schism, what are the several OHCs that are worth hunting down in terms of good storytelling and importance to the overall X-Men narrative? I've got both Astonishing and Uncanny X-Force. What during the Carey, Brubaker, Fraction, Gillen, Kyle, and Yost years is must-have. I've read a lot of mixed reviews of the stories during that period. And then I'm going to see what I said and like how much I still believe that.
Oh, okay. I
recommend anything that Mike Carey has done. Yeah. I recommend Peter David's X Factor run. Of the other stuff, I haven't read all of Brubaker or Fractions, but I really loved Second Coming. Kyle and Yost X-Force was good until it got to Necrotia. I'll stand by that, which was kind of a letdown. And Messiah War crossover was pretty bland as well. Gillen's run was actually a lot of fun, but it was bogged down by crappy Greg Land artwork for a good part of the run.
Does it have the date on that?
That was... No, because it just says 4 hours ago.
Oh.
So I guess
I'm
Up here,
thinking.
you have an alarm set. I think it was 2015 because there's an alarm for 3/26, 2015. So you've had that for 6 years just sitting on your desktop.
Uh-huh.
But the only thing I didn't really hit there was that they asked about OHCs, and I like only a couple of those are in oversized hardcover.
Oh, okay.
That's the only part that I messed up on. But yeah, I stand next to that.
All right, good. You can find me, Omnidog, on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube, and I will be doing probably a live unboxing of this guy's box that he sent me that may be full of toys or may not be full of toys. I'll be doing a live unboxing probably this weekend on my channel, and I'm going to be reading JMS Spider-Man with Kristan on the Omnicat show, 7 o'clock Saturday night. And I have another idea of a video I'm going to put out, but I don't have it organized enough in my head to say what it's going to be. It's going to be, but I don't know what it is because my mind has too much in it. I have too much in my mind. It's like my desktop on my laptop. There's too much stuff in there. I got to empty my head out. So thanks for sticking with us, everybody. We love you all. Thank you for everybody in the chat. The chat was good tonight, as it always is. And Cat Omnidog says, I still listen to Ryley's demo tracks from his MySpace page. Is that real?
I mean, my MySpace page, yes.
Do you have demo tracks on it?
Not my own demo tracks. I think I had other bands' musics and stuff on there, but that would be pretty funny. My band that I was in when I was in high school, we didn't have any original songs. It was just like covering stuff. And then like I got too fat or something for them, and then so they pushed me out.
You're kidding.
And it's really funny because at the time I was I was still self-conscious about myself, so I was like, yeah, I'm fat. And now I'm like, god damn, I would kill to be that size again. And yeah, so I got pushed out. But they also wanted me to like scream, and I don't know how to scream because that was the thing, like screamo and stuff was the thing at the time. I don't know how to scream, so it was basically just me yelling into a microphone. It is what it is. So yeah, there were no demo tracks released. I don't even remember. I don't know that we had a name. Like I think they called themselves at some point Jericho with a K, Jeriko, and I was like, that's lame. I'm glad I'm not with y'all guys anymore.
Yeah, they made you feel bad about yourself. You don't need those guys.
It is what it is.
Someday soon, I'm going to figure out how to get the technology to play Love Is Like a Pair of Pants on this so everybody can hear it. It is a great song by Tyler Blunt, and everybody needs to hear it. That is what I should have as the backing track when I open your box, Tyler. That's what I'm going to do. Love is like a pair of pants. And you can find me on Instagram on Omnidogs_vault. And thank you very much. Peace and love. Peace and love. We love IST. We love everybody out there. Everybody near mint today. That's right. Near mint every day. Thank you all very much. Peace and love. Peace